Welcome back, innovators. I was telling one of my assistants, Dominique here, that I used to do adjustments in Vietnam for 16 days. And so here's the story of that. I went to Vietnam because in chiropractic school, you need 250 credits. And so by the time I was in my last trimester, which a lot of students are, I was about 150 adjustment credits short. So a lot of chiropractic students have to travel abroad to get those remaining credits. So I did a lot of community outreach and they put us on this trip to go to Vietnam to get the remaining 150 adjustment credits so I could get my degree. We would land here and it wasn't me, it was a group of 30 of us chiropractic students. I got to go on my trip with a couple of my best friends, and Bobby was my best friend at the time. Bobby, if you're watching this, love ya. So the first night we're in Vietnam, we got on this bus and we're going to our hotel. My friend Bobby, he actually went on this trip with a torn ACL. So he was walking around with a cane. Well, first night we're there, Bobby gets on this moped with this guy. We had never met this guy before. We don't speak Vietnamese. Bobby pulls him over and like, hey, can you take me around the block? We're in a foreign country we've never seen before. He goes around the corner. I swear to you, we all look at each other. We're like, we're never gonna see Bobby again. But thankfully, the Vietnamese people are so nice, they actually dropped him off there. It's just one of those things I'll never forget. The first day we were there, we flew into Ho Chi Minh City. Most people get around by mopeds, so you'll see tons of mopeds driving throughout the cities, driving throughout the country land. We even got to tour a mattress factory. The people that helped sponsor our stay actually own the mattress factory, and we got to go eat with them. And so this is why we went to a mattress factory. Like, why are you going to a mattress factory in Vietnam? You know, if people sponsor you, you do what they say. I'm looking for sponsors. Yeah, it was really cool. We also got to tour some Vietnamese exhibits. I think this was when we went to the Vietnam Memorial. But it was weird because instead of it being from, you know, the United States perspective, it was all about Vietnam and their leaders. And so they got to show us these traps where people would walk over and then they would fall in and there were spikes. And they would have these tunnels they would crawl in underneath and then pop up to shoot the American soldiers. And I would just remember, like, I went crawling in there because my friends and I were like, let's do it. And then I remembered I was claustrophobic and I'm like, why am I doing this? It's crazy. This is a very funny picture of my friend and I. So he's wearing this smaller hat and I'm wearing this bigger hat because I used to like Mortal Kombat, and I figured I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna look like Raiden, you know, the old school Mortal Kombat. Later on, I keep getting these laughs from all these Vietnamese people as I'm walking by, because apparently the bigger hats are the female hats. And I didn't know that. They're like, you're wearing a female hat, and I'm like, I don't care. I look like Raiden and I feel pretty cool. After we, you know, the first initial days we were there in Vietnam, they get all quaint. We'd actually would have to take another flight to the south part of Vietnam because this is actually where it was more rural. They had less medical help. People would actually carry their moms on their back, literally traveling miles, like 10, 20 miles by foot to actually come and line up so they could get some medical care. It was pretty crazy. These lines were actually lined up out the door all around the hospital, and they were waiting for us 35 students just to go and adjust all these different patients. See, one of the major cities we stayed in was called Keenan. It was a 4-star hotel, which was amazing, and there's a beach there right next to it, so you're right next to actually the ocean as well. So it was pretty phenomenal. So these are teachers there from all the different schools that would actually supervise us adjusting the Vietnamese people. It was a great trip for everybody and learning from all the different doctors and experience. This was my other best friend on the trip, Taylor. So he was my adjustment partner. So him and I would work with a lot of these translators. We'd line up outside the hospital, getting ready, little waiting to get adjusted, waiting for us to come in. This is the cool part. We would actually have like a whole room, a whole kind of wing dedicated to us, where we'd line up all of our adjustment tables. We'd have about 20, 25 Vietnamese translators just coming in and helping us. They would actually get credits the same way we were getting credits because they were students as well. They would actually translate that wrist, a lot of pain in their wrists. They would have a lot of pain in their shoulders. They would have a lot of pain in their neck, especially the women. We generally saw more women than men throughout this trip just because they had more laboring pains than the men did. We would see some men with like some bad knees, bad backs, but generally women was more like fingers and wrists. I even remember this crazy case. This lady had one of the worst cases scoliosis I ever saw. Most times you will see scoliosis like this. you know, where they're tilting to the side. Her scoliosis was actually forward to the point where it was curling so much you could not even see her neck. It was one of the more severe scoliosis from a different direction. So it's more of a kyphotic scoliosis than a lateral one. You got to see some pretty crazy cases, but this is definitely where we got most of our hands-on training on people. And then, you know, we would go out at night, have some really great dinners after a long day of working in the hospitals, and then we'd have to move on to another hospital. As chiropractors, a lot of patients always ask, like, do we get adjusted too? And yeah, there's a lot of close-knit between not just chiropractors on our trip, but then people we went to school with, people we actually work with in the city. So we actually, this is my friend Kyle on the adjustment table, and then my other friend Dan was actually adjusting him, because it's important to keep our health and our spine is healthy too. But yeah, you can see this is one of the most unique pictures. So these are stairs back here. These are all the people that were lined up, and so the stairs would wrap down the hospital, and these people were all lined up, so they would be waiting on the stairs, slowly coming up the stairs just to see all us one by one. And the day was not done until you saw every single person there. But we had to suck it up because, you know, these people needed care. They were traveling miles and miles, and we just wanted to help them as much as we could. It was one of those things where if I never would have gone on this trip, I never would have realized how much of a culture shock it was. Not to mention, it actually sparked a bug for me to want to go international traveling. Honestly, if it probably wasn't for that, you know, I probably wouldn't be married to my wife, who's not from this country, who's now a citizen though. So good job, Isabel. And then here's another hospital which we were at. It was a lot of the same as we went from hospital to hospital. There were different cases of who we would see. Like I said, it was more like extremity pain, and we'd see that after we're done with working in the hospitals, we'd have another hour or so on the bus ride. I don't remember a lot of the bus rides because we'd be on there like we're just working on these notes just to get these credits. So it was not more than just adjusting, it was documentation. We were just exhausted. You could see our faces were red. And so then this is us. I think we were waiting before leaving Vietnam. We had our last hurrah, got to say goodbye to our translators and to the other students. We got to meet some people, had some lifelong memories, but a lot of hard work. Taking care of people that desperately needed our care was very eye-opening. When you see these people that live through this pain and suffering every single day and they have no medical care, to be able to actually give them the care and the smiles it puts on their face, you know, really was one of the most rewarding things. You know, made me happy to be a chiropractor for sure. But then, yeah, that's my, you know, story of Vietnam. Life-changing. Got my credits, you know, eventually after that, I had to go pass through 4 parts of boards, moved out to Denver, Colorado, then as an internship shortly afterwards, and now we've been out here since. And now look where we've become. We're Dr. Randy Cracks. And so I hope you guys enjoy this. Stay tuned for the next one. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want to hear some more of these crazy stories. I have some stories I couldn't tell here in the video today. I can make some shorts of some like more crazier stories, but you guys gotta let me know. So leave a comment in the comment section, and we'll talk to you soon. Keep it cracking.